Hello everyone, welcome to your daily dose of World of Warships Legends shenanigans. I am, of course, as always, your host, Phoenix61. Follow the channel, please. We are in the Janan today, so I have, ends up being a pretty freaking epic game. It really comes down to the last one health point in this thing. So stay tuned, but as you can see, right, I'm doing my normal torpedo cruiser routine here, where I'm circling around in the backfield, just dumping torps right off to the beginning of the game here, right, trying to get some hits. So we typically send torpedoes wherever I suspect enemies are going to show up. This Alaska really does push way out wide, and then there's kind of nobody on my team out there to meet him, but as you can see right off the bat, we are already down a battleship, and that is going to be the theme for this game. It's going to be an attempt to carry, right? Like, just dragging, like, just behind. We're just losing the entire way through this game. I'm going to try not to spoil the ending for you. But anyway, so this defense in here, right, I'm thinking we can get a couple of cheesy shots, right? I haven't drawn any fire yet on my team. We've already lost a battleship. So I'll get myself shown here for a little bit. Not a big deal. Hopefully this Alaska continues to turn into our torpedoes. I don't know if they're gonna... My torpedoes, for once, are too fast. Now they went right by him. But we triggered the fire. That's great. We'll have more to send pretty soon here. I think with this game too, like, there's a little bit of a struggle of just like positioning, right? Like, nobody on the blue team, right, my team, we didn't really go out and fight this like farther out on the sea flank side, right? So we're lacking some crossfires here, right? Like, most of my team, if you look at the mini map, everyone's bundled in between C and B there, right? With the exception of our destroyer. There goes another cruiser. We are now down 2 ships. And then, yeah, I was trying to get hits on the defense because he was kind of low, seeing if we could trigger fires. Right, 1 torpedo hit so far, a couple of fires. We're up to 25k in damage. This does end up being a pretty high damage dealing game here once we get going. I'm going to send more torps towards the Alaska. We've got the smoke screen if we need it. And then I'm trying to get a little bit closer into C to help support there. Right, we're already, right, like the B side flank, right, we're already losing zone B as well, where, right, and granted we've lost 2 ships on that side too, but already losing that zone, that was, you know, that's the one you automatically have when it's this variant, right, these 3 zones. So now we're going to be in a pretty epic points ticking situation here. I'm going to send these torps through the zone here in case either of these, right, you kind of have to anticipate what people might do. And so I'm just kind of hoping somebody comes through there. Right, there's that Vermont. That defense finally went down. We finally get a kill. Right, and early on here too, I'm like kind of, you know, I'm playing my flank. Granted there's less ships over here, but yeah, there's just like I was like, I gotta get into the action here. Like, my team's going down way too quick, right? So see if we can get an angle on this Vermont. I'm hoping he turns in to try and cap the zone. And then we can already anticipate, right, that the rest of the red team over by A and B are already going to start pushing up this way. Zone C is contested. Our poor destroyer still cannot get a break and can't capture the zone. He's got the Vermont pushing up on him. Alaska is now backing up. He did not like my deep water torpedoes. And then, of course, we do not want to get... spotted by the Vermont. Would prefer him not shooting at me. And then this is where, right, everyone's going to come through this way. You can already see on the mini-map all those red ships are pointed in this direction. So we know they're going to be headed this way. I'm going to drop my first smoke screen here and see if we can get some help out with this war chester a little bit. We've also got, right, torpedoes are going to be reloaded soon. We've got the Vermont behind us. We can get a couple of cheesy hits on him to reset the cap. And then since it reset fully, right, we know the destroyer's not over here yet, at least not yet. He was over at B. Get the 2 torpedo hits. And then he's going to go dark, so I'll just guess on the other torps. But yeah, we're still getting resets on the zone. I was kind of hoping like somebody else could spot him, or he'd fire his guns and then we would get the spot, right? So there go his guns, so now we can see him. Right, so he's on damage con cooldown now, so any fires or floods we trigger would be permanent. And then, yep, here come the red team from the other side, already pushing up. So this is kind of beneficial to us. We know that that's going to happen, so we can just start sending torps through. Try and cut people off. There's another torpedo hit on the Vermont. 80,000 damage now. We're gone. Yep, we finally get a kill. So now we have one of the 2 kills that our team has. And we're getting spotted. I'm going to guess it's possibly their destroyer. Yep, I do see a smoke screen out there. So we went unspotted for like a half a second there. Just trying to see if I can trip fires on any of these guys and like coerce them to use their damage con while those torpedoes are on the way there. We do get a fire on somebody. Right, Brisbane is going to take 2 torpedoes. That's going to end him. Devastating strike there. Kill number 2. We are now even on ships, but now we are in a situation where we're going to start needing points somehow. If you look at the mini-map, right, everyone from a flank, or yeah, from that other side of the map, right, on my team, right, both of those cruisers got pushed back. Right, and like it, you know, potentially I don't know exactly like what's happening with them. I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, right? But they, you know, they're outnumbered on that side, so it's quite possible they're doing the right thing. It's just frustrating to see our teams collapse ultimately here. So that Burgoyne turned away, right? So he's probably the smart one of the bunch, right? He knows there's the deep water torpedoes over here. He's trying to get away from us. They've got the zones capped, right? So the smart thing for the red team to do at this point would be kind of, you know, pull back and let us push into them. But we're getting lucky here, and some of these ships are still headed this way. Yamato looks like he's either on fire or flooding. Probably some fires. Who else we got over here? Worcester's still here, and I think it was a Zhao as well. Right, so I'm trying to get to the zone. I'm looking at points. I'm looking at time. And we're running low on both, right? They've got quite a few more points than us. This Burgoyne's pushing up this way. That's fine. Like, we've got some island cover we can use for him. I do have this full-blown meme torpedo build, right? I've built into the torpedoes more than anything else on this ship. Vampire picks us up, right? Very, very healthy destroyer here. So we'll see if we can do some work on him. The other enemies, right, with the exception of that Burgoyne, he does get a shot off on us, right? But not too many people can shoot at us, right? They were kind of tucked behind islands on the other side of the map. Yeah. There's the Zhao. We'll send some torps that way. Basically sending as many torpedoes as I can whenever they're available here. And I'm holding on to one last reload booster as well for the torpedoes. Vampire looks like he left the zone, so we're actually getting the cap now. But I was thinking, like, at minimum, right, we could be at least stopping them from getting points on this zone, right? If slow it down a little bit. And I want to keep on the move here at this point, right? The Vampire does only have the 1 rack of torpedoes, but I didn't want to stay in one place there, right? And we can't take that shot at that Burgoyne yet because he would have been on the other side of the island, right? He's moving around out wide. And if Worcester can, right, somebody else is spotting him because I didn't have line of sight on him. So we'll slow down here while we try and cap this zone, and we could potentially drop smoke and try and pick on him. I was just kind of making sure he wasn't going to tuck behind the island there. So we'll drop the smoke. We got more torps to send. We'll send them. And we'll see if we can trigger the fires. 119,000 damage thus far. there is still 3 minutes left. A lot can happen in that amount of time. Just wait and see. Get a fire there, and we get the zone cap, right? So that's going to help a little bit on points. We are even on ships, surprisingly, right? With how quickly we sort of seem to be collapsing in the beginning of the game, we're doing pretty good now. But points are going to be the problem here. Lost another ship, so now it's 3 on 4. We're going to get torps, right? We knew the Burgoyne was going around wide. I was kind of surprised that he kept coming. The vampire gets spotted here, right? So we're going to help with him. That's a must in this situation, right? 2 cruisers versus him. We might actually be able to get him off the board. My other cruiser that's remaining is super low on health, so he is getting picked on. We use the reload booster. We're going to have another sink there. We get the Worcester with the torpedo all the way across the map. And can we get the vampire? We had one last shot on him before he went undetected. I took another blind shot just in case. But we do get him, so that puts us at 4 kills. 2 ships left. Both of them are over here. Wait for me to screw this up, guys. Just wait. 900 points. The enemy team's got 900 points. We've got 200. I need to get both kills. We've got a lot of health. See if we can do this here. We sent all those torpedoes towards the battleship, right? So I'm hoping we get some hits on him. There's 3 with high caliber and Confederate popping at once. We are spotted by the Burgoyne. He's still got quite a bit of health left. I know the Alaska is going to be off to our right, but we're just going to take the risk, right? If he shoots us with AP, he'll probably get overpens, so... Torps for you. I'm going to wait a little bit here, because I need some more torps for the Burgoyne as well. So we didn't send both racks. We're up to 180,000 damage now with the 10 torpedo hits. And then, yep, we were kind of angled to the Burgoyne, but, right, he still hit us pretty nasty, right? Like, this is not a normal thing to do with this ship, right? He misses those torpedoes, but we've got the other side finally loaded again now. So I'm going to assume he's going to die, and I'm going to try and focus on the Alaska. We need to get some fires or something going on him. Less than a minute left in the game. Alaska's going to have us with the sonar here. We need to push up. 50 seconds left. I should have stopped reversing, but we do get the Burgoyne with the last of those torpedoes. So Kraken there. 40 seconds left. I know this guy is low on health. Just watch me screw this up, guys, because this was mine to lose. So I'm looking at my the time, and I'm looking at my torpedo reload. I know those are starboard torpedoes that are going to be loaded first here. We trigger the fire, but watch what I do. I should have just kept shooting him with guns. We do get a little lucky. I think he must get a bunch of overpens or something when he gets loaded here. So I was trying to angle for when he would fire, and he was shooting HE, I think is what it was, right? So he didn't do too much damage. I should have just kept using the guns, and I switched to torpedoes. Literally 1 second left. I probably could have gotten that last shot off if I didn't make that switch to torpedoes. It probably could have won that game. 251,000 damage. We'll take a look at the leaderboard. 13 torpedo hits. Yeah, that game was mine to lose, and we managed to pull off the loss. Right, almost 3,000 XP with the loss there, right? So if we would have won that, that would have been a pretty epic game. That would have put us over 4,000, I think. So, game number 2. We're gonna do better. We're gonna do better here. As you can see, we've already used the reload booster. I've got a lot of torpedoes on the way. There's a golden line out there and a battleship. Trying to flush the golden line out, right? Trying to flush him out by getting some fires on him and see if we can get him to move. That's going to be your kind of go-to with some of these Dutch cruisers that like to just tuck themselves behind an island and send their airstrikes, right? So if you can pick on them enough to get them to reposition, that's going to be huge for you. Then hopefully your battleships can get some big hits on them, right? But lots of torpedoes. We got one on the battleship there. A couple more, or a few more on the way. And it looks like we might have a flood going. Or that might be the shells hitting the golden line here. Yeah, what is this? A GK? Yeah, he's not. It doesn't look like he's bleeding. Our smoke screen's going to run out, so I'm going to start trying to reposition And again, I know starboard torps are going to be ready first here, so I'm trying to angle that way. One last shot while the smoke screen's still here. And we'll get going forward so that we can start turning. And we're going to send both racks again. Losing my voice today. And golden line, right? Like if our bullets are archy enough to, you know, make it over this chunk of land here and hit him. So we're gonna take advantage of that. We are getting spotted by something over in the B cap zone over there. Yeah, somebody's through there. So here comes the airstrike. I was thinking maybe I could outrun it, so I'm just gonna keep moving. And then destroyer pops up on the map, so we're going to pay attention to him. Jolts has a mighty large health pool for a destroyer. We need to start working on that whenever we can. We're up to almost 70,000 damage here, mostly guns at this point. Get the assist on the GK there. And it's a defense coming through. We're going to send torpedoes that way. We went unspotted, right? That Schultz, I think, either dropped smoke or is hidden behind the islands over there, right? But we got both of our destroyers kind of heading over in that direction. So if he gets spotted again and he's close enough, we'll try and pick on him as well. Yeah, and I think we're going to keep getting spotted by whatever is torpedoes we need to dodge. We'll hit the brakes and turn into that. There's still, I'm looking at the mini-map, right? There's still a battleship and 2 cruisers through B there, so I'm going to send both racks torpedoes again. I have a send them if you got them mentality here. And we'll drop another smoke here because we've got a couple of ships spotted that we'll be able to pick on and shoot. Another Burgoyne. And there's the defense. He's going to smoke. He's taking some hits. He made the mistake of coming through the gap there. Just keep unloading the guns while we've got them. See if we can pick on this defense, right? The defense has like a terrible, torpedo hit there, terrible smoke firing penalty, right? So sometimes that smoke's almost useless if you're going to keep firing your guns, but yeah, the battleship got a really great hit on him, and that allowed us to cheese the kill there. But that puts us up over the 100,000 mark in damage again. And I'm going to start moving here. This game is going, I don't know, a little bit better than the last one, right? We're up on points, actually, which is kind of nice, right? I think we've had zones a little bit longer than them. Lost another ship, though, there, so now we are officially outnumbered. 4 on 5. I know that golden line's still out there, and I know there's a Burgoyne up there. So we're going to send torpedoes, even though we can't see them. We know they're up there somewhere. And then there's another battleship kind of right in the middle of the map, so I was kind of concerned that he might come through into C. So I almost sent torpedoes through there, but I think it just wasn't gonna, just based on where he was, it wasn't gonna be worth it. So we'll send some more up this alleyway. And then there is one more cruiser that was last spotted in B, so I'm gonna send some through B again as well. Quite curious where he went. Golden Lion still almost in the same spot the entire game. He is now officially getting flushed out, though. We've got our battleship going up there and the destroyers going around wide too, so hopefully they'll get spotted. And if he does get pushed out, right, he might end up meeting some of our torpedoes that we sent. Somebody hit one. And potentially flooding too. Yep, I think we got a flood going. Here we go. Here's the Loria. Kind of wondering what took him so long. We got one more torpedo hit on the Golden Lu. So that makes 2 kills for us, and he's done for. Our battleship is calling it quits here, giving the good luck symbol, or emote. Loria is a ship we do not want to get hit by. SAP would crush us. So we're going to smoke and fire. I think he's going for the ram here. Which, you know, he's low on health, right? Our ship's low on health, so it's kind of a fair trade to get rid of somebody else that's got, you know, significantly more than you. But now we're going to run into this issue where there's still, you know, points are okay, but there's a destroyer and a cruiser left here that we've got to figure out what to do with. I was tempted to just straight up pull a full-on Yui and push into C to challenge that destroyer, because I kind of figured he would go right for the zone and try and cap the zone. But I'm going to send some torpedoes, right? We know that, you know, we're a little bit at a disadvantage, right? We are in a cruiser, right, which is great. So here comes Michelangelo finally, right? I've sent so many torpedoes his direction. He just now decides to show up here. But yeah, we're a little bit of a disadvantage, right, trying to take on a destroyer just because our deep water torpedoes can't hit him, right? So, but we've got plenty of guns, so if we can get within range and pick him up, we should be good, right? We can waste him with the guns. So I'm spotted here. We are up a little bit on points. So he does kind of, you know, make sense that he would commit to the zone. There's his torpedoes. It is a shimikaze, so there are lots of them, and they would hurt quite a bit. And then we know the Michelangelo is coming because we could see his smoke screen over there. So I'm going to take the guess with the torpedo shots. And then I'm going to start turning into him. We take a pretty snazzy hit from him there. We'll use the damage con since we got the engine damage. So now we need to keep our fingers crossed that this maneuver is throwing off the shimikaze, and we won't take torpedo hits from him. But it looks like we are going to get plenty of torpedo hits on the Michelangelo. So he's going to go from full health to just about no health there with 4 hits there. I'm going to send everything, right? We don't need to save any torpedoes because, well, they can't hit the destroyer anyway. So I'm going to assume my torps are going to make it to the cruiser. So I'm going to divert my guns towards the shimikaze since he made the mistake of firing at us. And we'll get a double kill to end off the win for this game. There goes Confederate as well. And there's the double strike. We'll take a look at the leaderboard, and then I will go through my build like I normally do. Like I said, I've built this out for just full-blown torpedoes, so yeah, we're using Azure Lane Harbin on here. 219,000 damage with 4 kills, and then that puts us, you know, you get that 1.5 multiplier for winning the game, so 3,300 XP there. Walked away with a little bit of silver. That's a good amount of silver for credits for legendary tier there, right? Aiming system, propulsion mod, and concealment. And then I do have the legendary mod on here for torpedo reload, right? So we get more damage with each kill. And then, yep, Azure Lane Harbin here, right? So if you don't have her, you know, the other, you know, you could use the other commanders and use a full-blown, you could pick the torpedo stuff there too. But yeah, she does have a base trait of more fire chance and flood chance, right? So that's a good one too. That's a good inspiration to put elsewhere. On torpedo boats as well. But as you can see, yeah, I've got pretty much everything, all torpedoes all the time, straight down the middle almost, with the exception of that last row. But that is going to be our game for the day, guys. We're all 2 games this time around. But thanks for watching all the way through. If you're still here, really do appreciate it. Make sure to follow the channel. Like I always say, I'm kind of a small channel still, so 1 new subscriber is noticed, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We do occasionally live stream as well, so if you're interested in that, I don't have a set schedule, so hit the bell, right? Get notifications for me. You can see when we go live. We just kind of hang out, take suggestions on what ships to play, and a little bit more relaxed, just have fun with the game and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thanks again for watching. Until next time, we'll see you guys tomorrow.